precinct person we're waiting on. Oh, Steven, you said Steven's on his way?
Yes, he said a few minutes at 6:27.
So a few minutes, is that 3 or 30?
I'm not sure where he's working today.
Did Sonia give you a proxy notice? Or Mayor? Okay, I just want to make sure. As long as she gave it to you.
I have it written down.
Okay, we're checking on Dr. Delisle, see if he shows up in the next minute or two. Speak of the devil.
There he is.
Come sit at the big table, Stephen. You're a precinct person. And I guess Curtis, you're close enough. Okay, then Dave and Deb are not close enough. Okay, let's get this meeting in order. I had a bunch of dental work done today. The anesthetic is wearing off, so if I start drooling or slurring, I'm not having a stroke. So,
Maybe.
okay, well, the meeting is called to order. First order of business, Pledge of Allegiance. Finley, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Moving right along, minutes of our last meeting, February 19th.
Mineral County Republican Central Committee, February 19th, 2025. Gordon Hendrick, Chairman, Sonia Golden, Vice Chair, Dan, Finance Chair, Anna Marie, Treasurer via the phone. Elaine Robinson, Secretary. Present, Ray and Sonia Golden, Elaine Robinson, Nancy and Al Atchison, Dan Clements, Gordon Hendricks, Steve Reed, Dennis and Mary Arnall, George and Anita Bailey, Julie Breivig, and Diane McGill. Gordon called the meeting to order at 6:30 and Steve Reed led the Pledge of Allegiance. Ray Golden has proxy vote for Denley Logie, and Dennis Yarnell has proxy vote for Rob Robinson. Introduction of guests. Gordon introduced our guest speaker, Kristen Christensen, Montana State Director for Heritage Action. Gordon asked her to speak to us first due to weather before any business was conducted. She spoke about what the Heritage Foundation was and what bills in our legislation that they were interested in pertaining to Montana. January minutes were read and approved. Treasurer's report, Anna Marie gave the report. Motion to approve Treasurer's report by Dennis Yarnall and seconded by Dan Clements. Motion carried. Old business, none. New business. Dan brought up that we were working on the Lincoln Reagan dinner. He found a pistol for our gun auction this year. Tickets will be printed for us to start selling, and he also asked James Brown as speaker for the dinner. Several places to hold the dinner were discussed. Elaine spoke about having the dinner at the Hideout restaurant. Michelle was working up a quote for this year's dinner. Elaine also added that Albertson's BPA kids would love to be this year's servers. Anne Marie spoke about having the dinner at the River's Edge restaurant in their new pavilion in Alberton. More discussion will follow. Dan added that we need to start working on items for live and silent auctions. Elaine brought up for clarification regarding table sponsors. Confusion last year regarding table sponsors and dinner tickets. We will now call it a dinner sponsor, and this is just to reserve a table with their company's name on it for $250. Dan asked about the cost for dinner tickets, and it may be in the range of $30 this year. Gordon Hendricks read his letter of resignation to our members, and with some regrets, we accepted his resignation. Letter will be sent out to members informing everyone of this, and that we would be asking for nominations to fill the chair. This has to be filled with a male candidate per our bylaws. List of responses from letters will be read and acted upon our March meeting. March meeting will be held in the Commissioners' Room on the 19th at 6:30. Dan has made a motion to adjourn. Dennis second. Motion carried. Adjourned at 7:47. Elaine Robinson, Mineral County Republican Central Committee Secretary.
Any discussion on the minutes?
So there was a question that came in to me, and that was whether or not we actually had a quorum last time. So, could we just look at that really quick with people present? So we had, Sonia, Elaine, Nancy, Al, Dan, Dennis, for
And Ray.
Ron. What's that? Dennis for Ron. Rob. Sorry, Rob. He was present for Rob.
And Ray was for Denley.
Okay. And then I was on the phone. Okay, so then you do not need to be present. You can send a proxy and then to make the quorum.
Yes.
Okay, that answers that question. And I think that was it.
Any other discussion on the minutes? Some-
Move we approve the minutes as read.
Second.
Minutes are approved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, go away. Okay, minutes are approved. Takes us to the treasurer's report, Anna Marie.
Okay, so we started out with $3,331.07 in our checking account. No member donations, and we've not yet done anything with the dinner. So that is still 0. I have already reimbursed, Dan has done quite a bit of work towards getting things together, so I have reimbursed him for the pistol, some paper, and for whatever reason, it's not an adjustment, it's a carryover of $132.05 that was spent for the lunch with Susie, who is our superintendent of schools now. And I think maybe you brought some stuff to the New Year's Eve thing, drinks that you bought.
Oh, yeah, a while back,
So
yeah.
in January.
Yeah.
And then gadgets to go for $192.75. That's for our dinner. So that totals $955.17, leaves us $2,375.90. Our money market, it was at $8,795. We earned a whopping 31 cents, gives us $8,826 for a grand total of $10,384.16. Any questions? No? That's easy.
We have a
Okay.
motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Seconded.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to introduction of guests. I do see a few not super familiar faces. Does anybody want to stand up and introduce themselves or let us know who you are?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Bill Lucenhide. I'm from Valley County. I am an elected committee man for District 24 down there.
Oh, yeah, I thought I recognized your face from Facebook.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Well, Cindy Tucker, I am a precinct captain in Missoula, and I'm also president of the Republican Women's.
Awesome.
Elaine, do you need Bill to spell out his name?
I will get it.
Okay.
I believe if you sign the roll,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Huh? She said she can get it from the sign-in sheet.
Okay, well, that takes us into old business. Pretty much the only old business right now is the Lincoln Reagan dinner. Where we're at on that, the pistol raffle tickets have been printed. I'm going to meet Clark on Friday to get those. I was hoping to have them tonight. but I won't get them until Friday, so I'll start reaching out to people who wanna sell raffle tickets or buy raffle tickets through the usual means, and we'll see if we can start get that going. And those tickets are $10 for one, 3 for 20. And once again, we're raffling a Springfield 1911 and 45 ACP. Comes with extra magazines, a couple of nice cases to carry in. It's a real pretty gun. I can have it at home. Had to go to Axman in Missoula to pick it up. But the other tickets, the dinner tickets for the Lincoln Reagan dinner, which I'll explain about later, should have been printed by tonight, but we had technical issues with Alice Printer and my choice of paper, and we're getting that ironed out, so we'll have tickets in a few days also. And those are $30. And the dinner will be held at the River Edge. Thank you, Anne Marie, for doing the legwork on that. I went and had dinner there a few nights ago, checked out the pavilion. For those of you who haven't seen the pavilion, it's beautiful. It's 2,400 square feet. It's glass on 3 sides. It's right overlooking the river. It's got a nice patio with a fire pit. When I was there, they had 22 4-top tables and 2 6-top tables, which is like 95, 96 seats, and they had room for more tables. They do have tables for us to bring up to put our auction items on. They have tables there with, drinks for coffee and stuff. So I think it'll work out really well. We are working on a menu, beef, chicken, or vegetarian. The price hasn't been finalized. They are shooting for about $20, $21 a person. Of course, everything's very volatile these days. As we get closer, we'll narrow it down. But we figure between the meal tickets and tipping the wait staff and other incidental expenses, if we charge $30, we'll make $1 or $2 per person. I never like to make a lot of money in tickets. Hopefully our money will come from sponsorships and auction items. So we want to get people in the building there. They do have a bar there. Obviously we're not paying for drinks. So everybody come and have 3 or 4 drinks before dinner starts so you can bid lots of money. Let's see, Kelly Morrison has agreed, and I need to work with her on helping us get auction items. So thank you, Kelly. And that's pretty much all I have on that right now. Does anybody have any questions, early questions? Yes, Denley.
And I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I'll bring an American flag and a Montana flag.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that because you generally bring flags every year. Okay, I see it. Yeah,
Julia.
Julie, that's right, yeah. Right.
I have a donation for the Lincoln Reagan dinner. I am donating 125 pocket constitutions to go with all the tickets that are sold.
Oh, thank you.
I also have 35 books from Chris Ann Hall called Sovereign Duty. I would like to donate that on behalf of the women's group for the first 35 tickets sold.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chris Ann Hall, Sovereign Duty.
After the meeting, maybe you, me, and Kelly can get together. We can just make sure we have this information correct and down. And thank you for that, Julie.
I have one caveat.
Yes.
I am waiting to see who's voted in as chairperson.
That's fine.
And so if we are a truly Republican committee, I will be involved and be joining my efforts.
Agreed.
Okay, that's reasonable. Yeah, obviously, you're allowed to make up decisions on your own for whatever you want to do, so I have no problem with that. Okay, any other questions about the dinner? Okay, moving.
I have one.
Yes.
Dinner sponsors, what's the price?
Oh, sponsors are going to be $300 this year. I've already had a couple of people. I think George Bailey has committed. Al and Nancy have committed. And I'm going to start hitting up all the usual suspects here over the next couple of days and get a list, and I will let people know who is ponying up for dinner sponsors. And if you do want to sponsor me here, you can hit me up after the meeting. We won't tie up our time here.
And how many do we have? Did you say, will we be able to do all 20 tables?
No, these won't go on the table.
Well, okay, then we go back to that conundrum with the dinner sponsor. A dinner sponsor technically is just donating money towards the dinner. The tables are separate, but if you buy a dinner sponsorship and you fill up your table, we will put a sign on and you can choose who sits there. It's basically the same as what we did last year.
Okay. So availability between 10 and 20 maybe?
10 and 20 what?
Tables.
Oh, for the
I mean, we
sponsors?
could do every table, right? But I mean, what are we shooting for, I guess?
You know what? If we get over 10, we'll start thinking about it.
I just need a moment on the tables themselves.
I come up with an idea that if you want to reserve a table, then it's, I understand there's 2 6.
Well, when I was there was 22 4-tops and 2 6-tops, but they do have additional tables. I imagine they have more 6-tops.
So if they got
need them.
if they have a 6-top table, you can reserve that table for $180. That's 6 tickets, 30. You know, you get, it'll say on it, reserved Denley. That's what it'll say on the table. It's reserved for his group. Now, on the sponsor, the dinner sponsor, that's where you donate to the club. You get your name in the agenda, and with any other advertisement we can hang up on the wall, recognize you as a sponsor. And I haven't approached Dan yet completely on this, but I suggest that we come up with a certificate, and I will work with Attorney over there in a civic that we can use from year to year. So if we have to print up, say, 50 of them, that's at least we can change the date so that you just go to the regular typewriter and type 5, 6, 7, you know. That's my suggestion. And so the 2 are separately complete. You got the sponsors over here, and you got the reserved table over here. Any questions?
Thank you, Al.
No, it's just something we're working on. Oh, look who's here. Welcome.
Sorry.
Glad you can, we're happy to have you here. We're just happy you're here.
So just so everybody knows, the meal that we're having served, if you were to go and have that for dinner, it would be $39. So they're giving us a huge discount so that we can fundraise off of it. And then one more question for you, speakers. Is there only going to be the one?
It depends on who responds. The event is listed on the mtgop.org website. So if somebody approaches and says they want to speak, I don't see any reason. I'm not going to have 20 speakers, obviously, but if we get a couple more, I would like that.
So Charles Walking Child would like to come back, and he would like to have a few minutes at the podium.
That works. Just, yeah, give it
So
to me
I
after
can
the
confirm with
meeting.
him?
Yeah, you
Okay.
can confirm with him, sure.
Okay.
I'd like to see if the lieutenant governor.
She was right in front of me today, I could have asked her, but I will. I didn't, you know, I haven't mentioned it to anyone else.
Or give me information where I could get a hold of her, maybe. I thought I was seeing her on a few of the.
I've got her phone. And I saw Susie today too, and I'm sure she probably did.
Susie Hedlund would be a great
Chrissy
speaker.
Jacobson, but I haven't mentioned any, and that was a question I was gonna ask, so I'm glad you asked that, because I wondered how.
Yeah, I was gonna hit you up and see if you had any potential names. Okay, well, like I said, if we get any, big developments in this, definitely I'll send out an email, let everybody know what's going on. Okay, any other discussion on the Lincoln Reagan dinner?
Like, how much was on the reserve table?
180. Well, if they can reserve a four-man table, 120.
Okay.
Basically, it's $300 plus a ticket for each seat at the table.
I thought he said they were separate.
They're separate.
They're separate. That's what he just said.
Yeah, you can be a table reserved for $180, and you can get your name in as a dinner sponsor for additional $300, so you're talking $480, and you're on both. So you get all the benefits of.
Like I said, it
So-
can get
so the
confusing. I'll
one-
try to spell it all out in an email and make
Get
it
it
much
on
more
paper.
clear.
So the 180 includes 6 plates.
Right.
Yeah, but separately, we can do 300 plus pay for our own
Yeah,
plates.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
They are
Now,
new tickets.
Okay,
If, like Nancy and I are coming, so we're gonna pay our sponsorship, plus we're gonna buy our dinners.
yes.
I mean, we don't give away free dinners, is what we're saying.
Yeah, just at their table, if they don't buy the other 4 tickets, and it's a 6-top, any 4 people can sit there, well, of course, at their choosing.
And As far as the reserve tables, we could maybe put in there, the earliest tickets gets the, pick the table they want, starting up front, moving back.
Yeah.
Because some people may want tables in the back as well.
Well, like I said, over the next week or two, I'll try to spell this all out in the email. It's not as complicated as it seems, so we'll get it straightened out. Okay, let's move on to new business. Obviously, as we know, we don't have a chairman right now, and tonight we're gonna hopefully elect a new one. As of right now, the only two nominations we've received are Ron White and Curtis Cochran, so I'm gonna let each of these gentlemen stand up and spend a couple of minutes explaining why they want to be the chairman and why we should vote for them. Ron, the floor is yours. You can come up to the front or speak from the back, whatever.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Ron White. I think everyone here knows my wife, Anna Marie. I think I know most of you. And I did send out a little bio along with my declaration. I hope everyone had a chance to read that. But since I have a few minutes, I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about myself. So I was born in a Republican household. I voted Republican my entire life. I voted for Reagan twice. And the platform of the Republican Party is something that resonates with me, and I feel very passionate about that. I come from a ranching background and logging. In case you're wondering how we ended up in Mineral County, we were logging in the Bitterroot and sending logs to Tricon. And of course, along comes Idaho Forest Group. And I was told by their forester, we got timber sales lined up for the next 20 years. So we moved to Mineral County to be close to the mill. Of course, you guys know the end of that story. So we had to diversify a little bit, and so now we're more into firefighting and that sort of thing. But anyway, so that's how we ended up in Mineral County, and you know, like I said, I'm a Republican, and I feel very strongly about the values of the Republican Party and the platform. And I'm willing to take an oath to uphold the platform. It's something that I would like to see maybe a little bit more with the Central Committee. People willing to stand up for the platform. So, yeah, that's it's pretty much my background, and I just felt compelled to step up and try to do my part to help out with the Central Committee. And you know, if you feel strongly about the Republican platform, then I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Now we have Curtis Cochran.
Curtis Cochran.
I have a protest. This man filed after the 12th, which was publicized as the deadline to the public.
I understand there's some controversy regarding that, and I do apologize for the confusion. That date was not meant to be a date to file by. It was a date to give us information so we'd all have time to look over everything and give us time to know our candidates. It's not in our bylaws. We didn't vote on it. So even if we chose to uphold that, we wouldn't have a leg to stand on. So I do apologize for the confusion. We can take nominations right up till tonight. And I do apologize.
That is not what you put in your letter that you published for the public from the Republican Central
It
Committee.
did say there was a date, but it didn't say nominations would not be accepted after that date. It did not say.
Didn't
that
say
was
they would be
not the date.
accepted up until tonight either.
Okay, I do apologize, and I understand if you have a problem with that, you can take it up with the higher-ups. But based on our bylaws and all the other rules, we can't hold to that. And I do, once again, all I can do is apologize for the confusion. It was not meant to be a drop dead date.
Okay, I'm Curtis. I'll respond to that deal. Last week was our Transmittal Week. I've been in Helena since November. I'm 100% all in on this job, and it's pretty exhausting. So last week we had Transmittal, so I was in Florida for 5 days, and on the 12th, I think Wednesday,
You
I
did call
called
me
Dan
that.
and I had it printed out. I said, well, I'm driving between Orlando and Fort Myers right now, so I'm gonna try to figure out how to get this to you. Dan said, don't worry about it, just bring it when you come. So I was home last weekend for 1 day, and I dropped it off at the secretary's house. So I apologize if there's confusion on that
Yeah,
deadline.
that's what I'm saying.
Anyway, I've been pretty busy. But anyway, so I'm a St. Regis local for 50 years. I've lived up here. I've got a lot in common with Mr. White. I appreciate hearing his story. I grew up on a ranch in Helena. That's where my mother lived, and she took us over there working for the Republican Party. And she was the secretary for then Lieutenant Governor Tim Babcock, and lifelong Republican myself. In 1974, I got out of high school. I came over here with my dad, went to work in the woods, and I've been here ever since. So I've been involved with this Mineral County committees for 16, 17 years. I think 2008, I ran for county commissioner against the St. Regis commissioner, lost by 42 votes. Kind of glad I lost, really. But anyway, and then more recently, 3 years ago, I was elected precinct man from St. Regis, and elected state committee man. I've been to 3 conventions. The Republican State Committee platform is the reason we're here. I mean, that platform that we developed is what the legislators are supposed to follow. That's the idea of the whole thing. So, and then the committee, the county committees, we work under their bylaws, and then we have our own bylaws, but work tightly with the state committee to support Republican candidates and raise money. That's the 2 big things that I see this committee does. If we can raise money, it takes a lot of money to beat the Democrats. Right now, all the Democrats have right now is the Supreme Court. A lot of our bills we're working on in Helena are judicial reform. Anything we can do to try to, that's the only thing they have. They're legislating from the bench. So it just takes a lot of money to beat them. Anyway, I've been involved in this committee, and I was asked by a couple of locals around here if I would run. Gordon called me. Gordon was in Helena working on a bill for the sheriff's office, and he mentioned it to me about 3 weeks ago, and I decided I'd run. I talked to Paul Fielder, my good friend from Thompson Falls, this morning, and he's the representative from Thompson Falls, and he's also the county chair in Sanders County. I said, how does that work? And he says, oh yeah, in fact, it's a good thing, because the way we run our committees in Helena is so nice. I mean, everybody goes through the chair, there's civility, there's decorum, and that's the way I'd like to run this committee. So I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
And then once again, I do want to iterate that our goal here is to nominate the best person for the position, not somebody based on what could be considered a technicality. And on that, are there any other nominations from our precinct captains of anybody else who would like to run as county chair? Okay. Then at this time, I'm going to close our regular meeting, and we're going to open our special meeting and have a vote. I have ballots, I have pens, and where's
Can I ask
Julie?
a question?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yeah.
I got this little mailing that said that you didn't vote for school choice. So can you explain
That
why
was,
that would happen, or if that
I'm not sure who the group was. There's a lot of us. There's about 90 of those that went out. And it was, I think it was maybe House Bill 320. It was for homeschool
Excuse me?
type deal, bill for
Yeah, I did ask her
tax
any others,
deductions,
so I
something
said
like
no.
that. And
Oh,
in
they
my,
can nominate
my
these
neck
people,
of
that's
the
right.
woods, I vote, a lot of these bills come out of Helena. I call it the big seven, it's Butte, Billings, Missoula, Bozeman. Missoula and Bozeman should have their own. They're the two worst. They're all Democrats, and they cause the most trouble, they want everything. But my rural district, the Article 10 of the Montana Constitution, Section 1, is the legislature shall fund the schools. And that's, in my rural district, that there's 5 high schools in this district. So I'm for my rural public schools. So that's the reason I voted against that particular bill. And I can't remember the group that sent those flyers out, but everybody was voting that way, God wins.
AFP.
It was a nice picture. I saw it. So, yeah, that's,
So are you entertaining questions? May I ask one?
sure.
So you have a vote at state, at the convention, because you are state committee man, correct?
Yeah.
So as our chair has a vote. Do you understand that you will cancel out one of our votes if you
No,
move
I
into?
talked to Paul about that,
So I spoke to,
Oh, did you?
I spoke to Montana GOP. I talked to all the staff there to make sure, and I just checked it again, you will cancel out one of our votes. You can only vote as a chair or as a state committee man. So we will lose a vote should you move forward into the chair position. Would you be willing, so what do you think about that?
I wasn't sure how that worked, but I thought you could proxy.
Nope.
I was.
One-
I
it's one
remember
per-
Paul
no.
telling me about that, because that's the way he
Yeah,
does
that's,
it.
George Bailey.
Proxy.
Yeah.
It's-
He's not a state-
We'll have to research that.
Well, it's
Unless they
how you
change
find
it.
it.
Well,
It's-
they-
it's
I
representative.
Made 7 phone calls to them
And we
since,
could appoint a
You
new
can
one.
bring it up.
Yeah.
well, I mean, are you going to vacate the state committee man position? Should you move forward?
Let's check it, we'll think about it, I don't know.
Are
Or-
you saying
or-
county, state committee man? I thought that was George Bailey. Am I confused here?
Well,
No,
he is
he's
our
the-
state committee man.
Yeah.
He takes a vote to convention state. So does our county chair. But if it's the same person, then
Yeah.
you lose a vote. So you would cost us a
Well, I
vote.
think we can figure that out, we can either appoint a new one.
Yeah.
Well,
He
we
can
would
put
have
in
to
a
vote.
proxy.
Yeah.
They said no.
They said
Yes, he
no.
can.
They said no. I called them 7 times to make sure, and they said that one person can only vote one vote.
We can deal with that when we have to, but I do believe Paul.
Well, I think we should deal with it now, because we don't wanna cancel out one of our committee's
No,
votes.
it's a valid question. What do you have to say about Paul?
Paul, last meeting, Paul had a proxy, and as a chairman as well.
That's not according to Montana State GOP.
Well, Paul's the regional chair,
Mhm.
he could definitely answer that question.
Well, I think our state GOP can answer it too, and that's the information that was given, because folks
Did they
kept
give
calling.
you anything in writing regarding that, or what the rules are, or like where they find that in statute, or?
Yeah, because it seemed like if Paul was able to do that and nobody called him on it.
Let me see if I've got
And
something.
we've, prior years, the chair was not able to attend the,
They had a
The
proxy.
convention, but we had a
That's something
proxy.
different. We're
unless
trying to
it
figure out if
changed.
we're losing a vote here, but, if Paul did it and got away with it or whatever, if it was illegitimate when Paul did it, somebody would have caught him.
I'm sure Paul did. And that's not to say that
That was on the up and up.
Paul usually is pretty straight up.
Yeah, he's the last person I would expect to do something that he
And I
shouldn't have.
remember there was something else he used a proxy for, I'm thinking it was.
Okay, well, it's definitely a valid point. I mean, it does seem like we don't have a clear answer on that either way right
But
now.
that will be needed in about June. It occurs.
Yes, Al has the floor.
I have attended, everybody's attention, please.
Curtis,
We'll just say that.
I gave Al the floor.
I have attended somewhere around a dozen or more state conventions. And most of the state conventions I've been to, you have the legislators who vote as legislators, and you have the committee people who vote as committee. If you are a legislator and a committee, you can vote in the legislative session and you vote in the committee section. If the chairman, if Curtis is elected, he can go as chairman and give his state committee proxy to anyone who is a registered voter within Mineral County belonging to the Republican Party. Or he can do it either way. Other than that, he can resign as state committee man, and we will elect a new committee man, and the voting members are the chairman, the finance chairman, and the two committee people. So either way you go about it, that's the way it's done.
So I do have the answer in writing. Do you want me to, Shelley, do you want me to give it, or
You
give
can
it to you?
text me, you know,
Oh.
just send it to me.
Well, I think maybe it'd be good if everybody else hears too. So in Montana, under the rules of Montana Republican Party, if the same person serves as both the Republican Central State Committee man, and county chair, it does not cancel out their vote at the Republican State Convention. However, they still only get one vote. So you would get only one vote. As the bylaws ensure that each individual delegate, regardless of the number of positions they hold, is limited to a single vote.
So then you just
And then
have
it
to
goes
send
on and on and on.
Anna, you are correct.
Thank
He
you.
is limited to one vote, except he may give his proxy to somebody else.
That's it, I think maybe she said, no, it doesn't say that, but
Or he
maybe.
could resign as
Right.
committee man, like you said, or we appoint somebody else.
Look up proxy.
Okay,
You can,
yeah,
he
she
can give
still
his
needs-
proxy to anyone within.
Because they make their own decision on how to vote.
Right. Or usually a proxy votes the way the,
But they don't have to.
you don't have to.
Deadly.
Mr. Chair, we can make one hurdle at a time. See what happens and then go from there.
Okay,
We're speculating.
well, one thing I wanna
We're
bring
not
up.
speculating, I was able to give you a definite answer.
But it doesn't say that.
I'm saying we're speculating whether it would be Curtis or.
I agree.
It almost sounds like it's setting you up for a proxy, because it starts by saying you only get one vote. But it starts by saying you don't cancel it out.
Well, no,
But then
it's
it finishes
saying,
by saying you're canceling it out.
yeah, no, but it's saying it's a single person, single vote. It talks about undue influence if one person has more than, it goes on and on and on. But it doesn't take it back. It just says same person,
But
one
it-
vote.
But it's 100% silent about proxies.
So I'm just hoping that I get something soon.
Well, obviously, it's a point of concern. It could be semantics, it could be, it's hard to say for sure based on what we've heard tonight, but it's something to think about when you cast your vote. One thing I want to bring up, I did make a little boo-boo here. I don't know if it's the painkillers or what, but technically, I need to go back into our regular meeting, and I need an official nomination for each of our two candidates. So I need a precinct captain to make a nomination for Ron, and a separate precinct person to make a nomination for Curtis.
I would like to nominate Ron.
Okay, we have a second? I don't know if we need a second or not.
Oh, second?
Okay, there we go. Okay. So Ron White has officially been nominated.
Rob Robinson, I'd like to nominate Curtis.
Curtis. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we do have an official second. So we have an official nomination, second for each of our two candidates. Okay, then once again, I'll close the regular meeting, go back to our special meeting. I do have ballots here for all the precinct people. I have pens, so we all have matching ballots. And Juliet Miller, what I'd like for you to do is after everyone's made their vote and folded their ballot, would you collect the ballots and tally them for us?
No, sir.
I got the answer about the proxy. No. They cannot proxy a vote unless it's just the one vote.
Do we have a
So they-
volunteer from the audience? Mary, you wanna do that? Okay. So I'll go ahead and pass out the ballots to all the precinct people. Choose everybody has the same pen.
Yeah.
Curtis?
No, Curtis does not. Curtis is, what I watch.
You're a precinct person, you gotta fill out a ballot.
No, you're not.
Did not.
Oh, is it Denley? Oh, okay.
I used to be.
Like I said, painkillers. What year is it again?
You have extra?
That's some extras. And is everybody is supposed to get a ballot have one? That's right. Tamara is Sonia's proxy. Sonia did notify Elaine of that. Okay, that's everybody now? I have pens, more pens if anybody needs them. Fill out your ballot, fold it in half. Mary will collect that here shortly.
Did you open it?
Yes.
I know you closed.
I closed it and then reopened it.
Okay.
Mary's gonna. I think everybody's voted, Mary. Yeah, and you don't need to announce the total number of votes, just whoever the winner is.
Okay.
No cowboy hat, what?
She's coming the other way.
Sit over here.
Long way.
Is that not? You gave me two.
Yeah, one for me, one for you. One person, one vote.
Unless you for profit.
No.
Yeah.
You need a helper with this.
Yeah, if somebody would like to do that. Maybe. Eyes, oh my God.
I'll do it.
I'm announcing,
You gotta go ahead and announce it.
and the winner is Curtis Cochran.
All right. Congratulations, Curtis.
Yay.
And I guess you need to come up here and take my place.
Already?
You're the county chair as of right now.
We need to close.
Yeah, we're now going to close the special meeting, reopen the regular meeting. I guess you just sit here and I'll
Yeah.
fill you in what you talk about. The only thing we
The
really
rest of the agenda here?
Yeah, the only thing we really have left is we're gonna talk about getting a table at the fair. That's the last item on our agenda tonight.
All right, well, thanks, everybody that voted for me, and if you didn't vote for me, I'm staying with you guys, we're all good Republicans. We march forward with the best intentions for our Republican Party and our platform. I know the election was tight. This is the elephant in the room. I had a three-way election last year. Mr. Delisle's a very smart, capable guy. I just barely won. There was another guy that was close. But I've given this job 100%. I appreciate you guys being involved with the county. And going forward, let's go forward with decorum and civility and treat each other fairly. It's about, and thank you guys for your vote. Appreciate it, Ron, for putting his name in it too.
Yeah, thank you, Ron.
Good luck. So the next order of business I see on here was reopen the regular meeting, and we're talking about the fair.
Question, oh,
Somebody had, Dave, did you have your hand up?
No, I just waited a while.
Oh.
So the fair booth.
Yeah, and just to jump in here since you're new to this. Anne Marie mentioned something to me about we should be getting a table at the fair quickly.
quickly, yes.
Okay, you want to explain what the costs are?
So what we did last year is we did get a discounted rate, $25 per day, so it was $75. It looks like we can still swing that this year, but we're not going to have as much space because we have less room that is going to be allowed. We're losing that big chunk. So as soon as we can possibly get that in, we should get that in. So do we have an interest to put up a table?
And I was gonna, as far as the room part, that'll be a little easier too. There won't be all the posters and signs up because it's not the election year, so we won't have.
Well, no, I mean space, literal space. We don't have as much space, so.
That's what I'm saying. We won't need
as much space.
about the signs, putting things in the way. But, and then again, I wanna say, we did the water thing before, and I'm not.
2 years ago.
Yeah, we don't wanna bring that back. But
No,
I
we
think
didn't
should-
do that this last year, we just had a
Yeah,
table.
right, but I do think we should have some space.
Well, we need to be able to
Make
sell
our presence.
pistol raffle tickets, that's
Yep.
our money raiser, and then obviously answer questions, hand out information.
So
And
I would be in
volunteers?
favor.
Did we do 3?
Volunteer? Okay.
Did we do 3 days or do we do
Well,
2?
we sort of did Thursday just because things were already set up, but we weren't, but we paid for it regardless, so we kind of gathered up there. So we did end up at least, manning it, tabling all 3 days, yeah.
Okay.
We had lots and lots of people on Friday, an abundance of people on Saturday, and then a handful of people on Thursday. And it was good, so, yeah.
All volunteers.
And I can figure,
It was very hot, yes.
I figure a couple hours each day.
So we'll probably have the same size booth, is that what you're saying, or
Well, we can minimize it, but it really doesn't make a difference.
We don't need the volunteers right now, we just need.
No, we just need to,
We just need to
vote
know,
that we're getting
yeah.
the space.
Yeah.
The details will be worked out later.
Yeah, and just so I can get a check-in, because I need to give us the spot.
So I make a motion that, I'm sorry, but Danley?
That's.
Okay, I make a motion that we buy a table at the fair for all 3 days, like we did last year.
I'll second that.
Call for the question. All those in favor, or question, or whatever, follow procedure, Chairman.
somebody made a motion.
Yeah, I made a motion, Denley
I'm sorry.
seconded.
My hearing aids broke down yesterday and I took them in today and they had to send them off, so I got, this ear is bad and this one's worse. So, all in favor, say aye, we have a motion.
Aye.
Buying the table, fair now.
So I just need to get a signature, Dan. And so I do want to bring something up. So I am having an issue with getting our mail out of our, and I don't know how many. I know, Dan, we know for sure we've got a couple of keys out there.
My understanding is you and Elaine have the only keys.
Those are the only 2 keys there are.
So I'm just, I'm not sure why I'm not getting the mail, but I'm missing a lot of stuff. So my solution is to just change the lock and then we can reassign the keys. But it is a little bit of a cost.
Right, I guess, and then whose name is on the PO box? Is it just Mineral County Republican?
It is just mineral, yeah, and then anything that needs to be signed, it has my name.
Okay.
But we just, so I set a trap and I know that mail was taken out
Okay.
between Friday to Monday night.
I mean, those keys are hard to duplicate, but there's no telling over the years if a key
Where's
got.
that in post, what post office?
It's right
box?
here.
Yeah.
So I knew I wasn't receiving stuff, and then what'll happen from the state especially, like the Secretary of State, is wanting to know why I haven't responded via email. And I thought, well, this is strange, when did you send it, blah, 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 everything's been addressed, it's fine, but I should be getting the hard copies, and I haven't. And then, I know Dan asked me a few weeks ago, has he gotten any mail, and there hasn't been any. So then, what I did, on Friday, I had mail in there, I removed the mail and met with Dan, and then I put the mail back in. On Monday night, the mail was gone.
Oh, okay, well, that's.
Really?
So that was my trap.
Postmaster about it?
I talked to them when I noticed that I was getting, I'm not even getting junk mail, like I usually get the throwaway from Darlow's.
Yeah.
And I was not I never got the notification to file, our SOS paperwork, nothing.
That's federal.
Yes, exactly, well, that's my thing, yes,
Why
ma'am.
don't you contact me, I may have contact with the postal inspector, put in a complaint,
Oh, okay,
because that ain't good.
Okay.
That's a no-no.
It's
okay,
a felony.
okay, I'll get in touch with you, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
pretty
next
serious.
course of action is you'll work
It's
with
just change,
Deb.
and change the lock.
Both.
Both,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
And I make a motion that we let Anna Marie look into changing the lock
Okay.
and whatever the costs are associated with that, because based on what you're saying, it's obvious somebody's getting that mail.
They may want to just leave the post office box the way it is right now, so they can film it. So, let's talk to him first before you
Okay,
the
do
change.
anything else?
Yeah.
Okay,
Because if it's happening to Republican junk mail, so to
Mhm.
speak,
mhm,
what are they really taking?
right.
And I've heard a lot of complaints from different people.
Are you getting bank
Oh, have you?
In different ways, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So let's make
So
it.
we got a motion to have Anne Marie change the lock?
No,
Talk to the
she's suggesting
postmaster,
to
We can
wait.
still
and
vote.
potentially change the lock.
Yeah, eventually change the
We can
lock, but let's make sure that they get the evidence before, so we know who's doing this,
Right.
because that's not copacetic.
No, I agree. I mean, if they have a way to find the person, that'd be great.
So Dan, can you just clarify, the motion is to do both, but she'll hold off on the first?
The motion is to start the process of whatever it takes to secure our PO box.
I'll second. That's, got a second there. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We gotta figure out the post office box. It's crazy.
You want me to crack another
Are we
crime?
not getting any, bank statements, sir?
Okay,
So what I did with, just so that I can answer, so what I did with bank statements is I just print them out now. But there have been no banks, they're all just printed out, so, yeah.
So they don't mail them to you?
Not anymore, because I wasn't getting anything, so, yeah. And then I did have another issue today, so in trying to get into, because we do online banking, so I needed to change the password and the username again. So someone had been attempting to get into it, and I think what they were doing, because when I spoke to her on the phone, she said, well, are you, so I do treasury for lots of other boards, and so I've got several, and then I've got, our girls bank there too. So she went down the list and she said, Men Rep Co. And I said, nope, I've never used that. So they were trying to get in with an old, it turns out that at one time it was, but what they were doing is trying to figure out the password, so it locked me out of the account. So we changed the password and we changed the username again, and it has nothing to do with Central Committee or Mineral County or anything. It's like 28 characters long, and I'm hoping that that keeps folks out.
Right,
Because if you can guess the username, I didn't know this, if you guess the username correctly, it allows you to try passwords.
Right.
And you get 3 times before you're locked out. Yeah,
Or even set a new one.
yeah. Well, yeah, if they can gain access, then they could. So anyway, that, I just thought that was strange that happened today too.
It's very,
Just informational, yeah.
yeah. It's just.
All right, any other new business? I got one thing that's Sunday, this Sunday is the Lewis and Clark County Lincoln Reagan Trump dinner, they call it. That's something we could think about too, we could throw Trump's name in there. That's what everybody, a lot of the committees are doing that this year. It's a Lincoln Reagan Trump dinner. Everybody's
I
pretty
think
stoked about that,
That'd
so.
be great.
Yeah, but it's something to think about, but that dinner is Sunday at the Civic Center, $75 a plate. Of course, you know, they've got everybody in town, so they're gonna make a lot of money. I got our tickets today, so, they've
What time
got,
is that? 5
see,
o'clock?
remember who the speaker is, there's a couple of politicians.
Is it 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock, I think, on Sunday. So if anybody wants to come to that, spend the night, we'll get a Capitol tour on Monday. And,
Or you can come early and testify on Friday for the sheriff for getting their guns back.
yeah,
Guns have been held for over a year and they can't get them back, so.
so that's all I have is an announcement about the Lewis and Clark County. Any other new business? If not, next thing is to call for adjournment. I gotta drive back to Helena because I got a caucus meeting at 7 o'clock. Al's got some new business.
Yeah, if you haven't signed up yet, would you sign up before you leave?
Oh, the sign-in sheet?
Yeah.
Sign in sheet. Yeah,
The sign-in sheet that we have, yeah.
Thank you.
I didn't sign it.
I
I
have
have
you.
your emails.
Now you know.
Got stuck somewhere.
Back to, yeah.
I don't know who's it is.
You know, I've gotta drive back too, but if anybody wants to talk to me about anything.
I moved to adjourn.
I second.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Don't do it loud,
What,
just
all
a
this?
little tap. Okay, you're okay.